Hello and welcome to the Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during the week. One topic in particular this week. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you are comfortable calling me, and welcome to you, my co-host, to chat. I love having everybody here to discuss all of this craziness, and crazy week it was, as this has been the video game Super Bowl, effectively. This is as much as I have argued in the past about the idea that E3 is not completely necessary anymore, with things like pre-recorded Nintendo Directs, and now Sony's doing State of Play, and Xbox used to have like Inside Xbox, or I think they brought that back. It's not as necessary as it used to be, especially since we need information more throughout the year. It's always nice to have these, like every 3 months or so, have some sort of an update as to what's going on. E3 isn't exactly necessary, but as long as it's going on, we're all going to get excited about it. As long as they keep using it as a dumping ground for large announcements, we're going to keep getting excited about it. So, of course, we have been excited about it for this last week. We've gotten some pretty wild announcements. It's been, we got to see stuff that we already knew was coming out, so they're not really announcements, but we still got to see some great stuff. It has been a wild week. Even a couple of announcements that nobody thought was real. I know there was one that I saw today that I'm not entirely sure is real. I'm pretty sure it is, though, because I can't imagine it being a lie. But there was one last night that somebody told me, and I thought they were making a joke. And I went and looked, and I watched the presentation for it, and it was not a joke. And then when I said it to other people thought I was joking. Rocky Bear, Rami, Minion, what is happening? Hopefully everybody's having a decent week. Everybody's having a fun, news-filled week. My chair is rolling off of my little platform that I have here. So I think one of the things I'm going to do in the upcoming 2 weeks is build a new little platform area for my chair. It has been, like I said, it's been a wild week. My week personally has been sort of okay. I went to the Goodwill store and picked up, they had one of these, I don't have it with me here, the 3DS cases that had, it's got slots for all the games and it's got space for your 3DS. They had one of those behind the counter for $15, and it had 3 games in it. It had Lego Jurassic Park, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splinter's Trainers Pack or something, and Pokemon Moon. So I am actually now finally playing Pokemon Moon, one of the most modern Pokemon games I've ever played as far as release, because I do have Pokemon Let's Go. The most up-to-date Pokemon game I've played. As far as the Pokemon timeline goes, it is the furthest ahead in the storyline I have ever played. I don't know if you can help me out here. There was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Were they different stories, or did they just have different features? Because this is just Sun and Moon. Like, I don't even know if Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were physical different releases, or were they just updates to the pre-existing game. I actually don't know. I didn't follow. I wasn't really expecting to be playing Pokemon Sun and Moon, so I didn't really follow the release of the game. Sort of like Sword and Shield. Like, I'm kind of following it because it's what's going on right now, but I'm not really expecting to be buying those games, especially with the cavalcade of stuff that I want to get. I posted on Twitter the idea of me making a list for the things that I want to get, and I did that, and that was kind of a mistake, because now I look at that list and think it ain't happening. Let me open up Discord here, because I can never really tell. Well, last week we had an issue where chat was all messed up. And now when the chat does, I hate to say it, like, I hate to make it sound like I'm being arrogant, like nobody's talking, something's got to be wrong. But now I'm kind of like, a couple people said hi and then nobody said anything else, so I don't know if everything is still working or not. So I am in Discord right now. Yeah, okay. So I mean it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, if anybody is out there, please let me know that everything is still okay. Because um I'm not seeing anything. There we go. The story in Ultra Sun and Moon was changed for the worse from what I hear. A lot of things people liked were changed to either make the original impact pointless or just made them bad. I'm not too informed, but that's just they're okay. So they're physically separate games. So they are. So I have plain old Moon. So there's a physical Ultra Moon version of the game. Okay, see that's what's one of the reasons I get upset with stuff like that. Like I don't like that. Like that's I look, the reality is, and I know that this isn't true for everybody, I can barely afford some of the games that I do get. To when you start putting out whole extra versions and new physical versions of it, that just kind of kills me. You know, that's one of the things that's one of the reasons I get upset about digital games being the same price as physical games, because it would be nice. I don't like digital over physical, but it would be nice to at least be able to afford some of these games, because you know, $40 for a digital game, I can't. I just can't do it. I know that it's the same game and it's more convenient to take with me, but I only take a few games anyway. That's sort of like I make the argument about books. I prefer a physical book to an ebook of any kind. But it's hard to avoid the idea of being able to take a lot of books with you at once, as opposed to just taking one or two. But at the same time, who's reading 1,000 books? You know what I mean? Like who's going on a plane ride and or taking a long car ride and needs to bring more than 2 books? You know, so it's kind of it's a benefit, and at the same time it's kind of not necessary. So I feel like the advantage to digital games should be that they're cheap enough so that we can actually play some of these games. But I mean, I can't. You know, if Ultra Moon was an update, was a DLC update to Moon, maybe I could at least try it. But I'm not gonna go out and buy a whole nother copy of a game that I already bought. You know, that's just sort of, it is what it is, and I know, and I hate to sound like I'm griping, even though I am griping a little bit, but yeah, I know that things are the way they are. I for a long time have to operate on the mentality of if I can't get it, then I just don't play it. You know, I've got tons of other stuff to play, but sometimes it does bum me out. You know, like I said, when I put that list together, which I will be happy to share with everybody, but you know, I put it together and I looked at it and it's like, I have 17 things on this list and I'm going to play maybe 3 of them. And not because I don't want to play the other ones, I just can't afford it. But yeah, it's, I mean, ultimately it's been a decent week. We're getting a little, I always sidetrack myself here. But yeah, as far as the week goes, the week's been okay. You know, I got that at Goodwill, so that was pretty cool. So I've been playing that. On stream, we're playing Final Fantasy VII because I saw the Final Fantasy VII Square Enix presentation, and now I'm on the hype train for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have not been on the hype train until now, but we'll get into all of that stuff. How's everybody doing, by the way? Hopefully everybody has also had an interesting week. Hopefully you got some cool announcements. I know that E3 is like I said, is kind of like the Super Bowl for us for this week. There's always there's a few days of blowout announcements and another few days of just maybe mediocre announcements. But a lot of the stuff doesn't really appeal to anybody. People don't really care about a lot of this. You know, we got Smash Brothers announcements, and I saw tons of people online like, I don't even play Smash Brothers. Like, okay, then it's not for you. Like, you don't have to be a downer to everybody else, but you know, so I hope everybody got to see some cool stuff, some stuff that interested you. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, there's really only one topic. I was gonna say let's switch to our first topic, but there's really only one topic, and that is E3. E3 is definitely the big topic for this week. There's nothing. Actually, I can't say that. There were a couple other things that happened, and they're not. It's some other stuff happened. I question whether or not I'm even going to talk about that stuff. But, we've got a viewer topics portion of the show, so if anybody else wants to bring up some nonsense, you're welcome to. But E3 happened. So we got, tons of presentations, tons of announcements, tons of craziness like we always get. And I just checked Discord, and it does look like the chat died again. Let's see here. Did chat die? Sorry, I'm typing in Discord right now. Bruh said he saw lewd fan art of Kazooie, and now I'm sad. Please live, Rami. Oh, Rami typed in. Rami said that it's alive, so. It looks like the chat might be alive. I don't know. Like I said, I always feel kind of arrogant saying like, "Oh, nobody's talking, so the chat must be dead." But it was a reality last week, so I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to keep Discord open. Yeah. So if everybody else can refresh your page and then type in and see if maybe it's working. Hopefully, it's working. This is getting kind of ridiculous. Look, Twitch, as if Twitch is going to hear me. I get that we are small potatoes here compared to some of these other streamers that have 10,000 viewers regularly, but we're not going to be able to get off the ground if this doesn't work. My chat didn't pop up. Yeah, so it looks like we got a couple people typing in. But yeah, this doesn't work if it doesn't get off the ground. It's bad enough that it's summer. We're moving into summertime, which means viewership is going to tank because everybody's outside playing, if people even do that anymore. Does not seem to be working on my end. I'm going to try to refresh, but that message came through. Yeah, I don't know. Gets frustrating, It gets kind of annoying. I don't know. But we had E3 and we had some presentations. I gotta be honest with you, there is not a lot to talk about with these presentations outside of chat's off. It's off and on and off. It's super busted. Beep boop, it's working. Hero, Hyrule, Ziego, Hawk Goggles, Aqua. What's happening? Yeah, I mean I know what's happening. Chat is a freaking disaster. So I apologize if. A chunk of the video today is just going to be me rambling and everybody wanting to reply but can't reply. So I definitely apologize for that. Even though it's not my fault, it's Twitch's fault. But so yeah, there is not going to be a lot for me to talk about until we get to Square Enix and Nintendo. There we go. It looks like all right. It looks like it's working. Lizard, what's happening? And hello to everybody that might have been typing in the Discord. I saw a lot of people in the Discord typing, or a couple people anyway. Wake me up. Sunday was okay. So Saturday was EA Play. EA had some sort of event. I don't think they did a presentation. It was just, Lizard, your PS4 is dead. I saw that. Keep an eye out, Lizard. There's systems out there for like $250 now. There's always kinds of sales and everything. All you need is a base system, so it's got to be some way to find it. What I'm wondering what died on it. If it's just the drive, or Experiment will probably be able to help you with that better than I can. EA had a full presentation. I'm sorry. Sony is the one that did not have a presentation. Yeah, EA had a full presentation, but nobody really cared. I know that I think they showed so the thing with the EA presentation, wasn't it more like they had a bunch of games and they showed like a half an hour of each one of them? They didn't have like a 45-minute standard presentation. They had chunks of showings for individual games, right? Because I know that they showed about a half an hour of Jedi Fallen Order. I know there were a few other games that I don't really care about. I mean, even Jedi Fallen Order, I'm like, although I was happy that they did say something about no loot boxes for that game, which to me always sounds like no loot boxes at the beginning. The only thing that mattered was Star Wars. Yeah, and they showed off chunks of games. My nephew ended up hacking my SNES Classic. There we go, Rocky Bear. Now that sounds good to me. So they, EA's normally my chance to go to the bathroom, but they were on Saturday, so the rest of the week was, the rest of the announcements were. So I gotta be honest with you. I'm looking at the schedule, right, and Microsoft was decent, and let's just go through each one of them. We'll go through each one of them. Yeah, they had a game per time slot. Yeah, I remember that's how they did it. Microsoft was on Sunday. Microsoft's announcements were not awful. The presentation itself was actually relatively decent. They did move along at a decent pace. Nothing was super duper interesting. It was interesting that they mentioned the Scarlett, and I think at some point over the weekend they made a comment about the Scarlett won't be their last system, so it does not look like Microsoft is leaving the console market at this time. Lizard, chat is dead. I see your chat. I see your message, so I don't think it's dead. I mean, it may be going off and on, so who knows what's going to happen today. My question is, why is E3 a week long, considering how much news we get throughout the year? Well, here's the thing, Rocky. E3 is not just for video games. E3 is PC news. E3 is technology news. There's a lot of stuff that comes out at E3 other than just video game stuff. It's just with the rise of video games over the past decade, the video game presentations have taken the forefront, at least in our community, because a lot of some of the tech reviewers that I watch, they're not talking about video games at all. They're talking about all of the news coming out of AMD and Intel. They're showing off, they're there showing off cases, showing off motherboards, talking about the new CPUs, because AMD has the Zen 2 architecture coming out with the Ryzen 3000 chips, which are super impressive. Intel has some stuff that they're trying to show. It's all technology stuff. It's the Electronics Entertainment Expo. I think I want to say that's what E3 is. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. Again, my argument is still that for video games, E3 isn't really necessary, because yes, we do get information throughout the year. We get very exciting directs from Nintendo usually. Sony just started doing their state of play, and I feel like they're not exactly hitting their stride, but there was definitely an improvement from the first state of play to the second one. So I feel like they're starting to understand what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. Microsoft used to have Inside Xbox, I think it was called, and I think late last year or sometime last year they started doing it again. So that's a good thing. They've all got their platforms for putting out these big announcements. So E3 isn't necessary, but it's still kind of fun. See, I didn't know that. I have egg on my face. I'll eat a face omelet. That's that. I don't know how I could take that. Microsoft basically had Battletoads, Lego Star Wars, and Cyberpunk for me, Halo as well. But Microsoft for me. Okay, so Battletoads. I wrote down all of the games that they showed off, and quite frankly, I really don't care enough to talk about most of them. I was not excited for Battletoads because, in all honesty, visually, Battletoads kind of looks like a Flash game from Newgrounds. Obviously, it looks much better than one of those, but as far as the art style and the way everything played out, I'm sorry, but it really did kind of look like a Flash game, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not fun, but it should probably look a little bit better. I really can't afford an entirely new PS. Yeah, Lizard, preaching to the choir, Lizard. I routinely look at my stuff and hope none of it breaks, because once something breaks, I look at my setup right here. I look at my stream setup, my monitors, my mixer, mouse and keyboard, my lights, and I think if any of this breaks, I'm screwed. I'm screwed because I can't afford to replace it. I can't not immediately. Halo is probably the only exclusive I'm hyped for. I know someone can get you PS4 from it. But yeah, Battletoads I'm not really excited about. The only thing that I was super excited about from Microsoft was Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077. I've said well before that the only thing I want out of the presentation from Microsoft, or from CD Projekt Red at least, is more footage of Cyberpunk, since the footage that we have is a year old, and a release date. I got more footage. I got very good footage. We got a release date, which is next year, which, thank God, give me some time. And one of the most amazing moments of the entire show, of the entire E3, was the fact that first Keanu Reeves was in the game. I was freaking out that he was in the game. I am a huge fan of his. I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. I am probably one of the few people that will openly say I absolutely love the movie Johnny Mnemonic. I think Johnny Mnemonic is ahead of its time. I think it was a great cyberpunk adventure with a lot of messages that resonate today. You know, the idea that there's this illness going around and people can't afford to treat it, but the illness comes from technology that we refuse to give up. You know, a lot of that resonates not only to technology, but to the energy crises that are going on right now. You know, to the fight for oil. We look at how much the energy situation and climate change. We look at how all of that is so negative for us, but we're so addicted to the things that are causing it, we can't give it up. You know, all of that stuff is very relevant. The whole cyberpunk atmosphere, all of that is extremely relevant, and I feel was way ahead of the time that it could have been. If that movie was made and released now, I think it would do significantly better. I love that movie. So to see him in a cyberpunk adventure is the icing on the cake. You know, it already looks like an amazing game, and then you got him. And then if anybody watched the footage, the sizzle reel footage when they showed the release date, there is somebody using a whip, like a laser whip. That laser whip is in Johnny Mnemonic. There's a character that has an attachment on his thumb, and when he takes it off, it's a laser whip. How freaking cool is that? That one of the coolest movies has one of my favorite actors in the game, and the game has one of the coolest things from the movie. It all worked out well for me from that presentation in that regard. Everything else was just sort of was that Fortnite John Wick? No, that was just regular John Wick. Yeah, this year's E3 was about 85% no gameplay. See, Minion, I have to disagree with that. I don't think that it was. I remember somebody was complaining that the Microsoft presentation had a whole bunch of CG only presentations, and I'm pretty sure it was like 4 or 5. I think there were only like 4 or 5 games that were CG only trailers. I'm out of what, an hour? They were on for 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. 4 or 5 CG only trailers for a 2-hour presentation is not bad at all. That was Neo. Well, actually, he was. Who was he in? Because they didn't actually call him Johnny Mnemonic. I think they just called him Johnny. I think it was just Johnny in Johnny Mnemonic. Yeah, they didn't actually call him that, but he was. Yeah, because that's right. Because somebody says, "Well, just Johnny," which I think was Henry Rollins, who did a great role in that movie. I love that movie so much. For me, the games I'm looking forward to announced by Microsoft were Spiritfarer, which I thought was okay. Tales of Arise, which I just never have gotten into the Tales. See, I like the Tales games, but they seem like it seems like a commitment to get into those games. Other than I've played some of Tales of Destiny 1, and I played all through Tales of Destiny 2. I'm sorry, Tales of Eternia. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I think I'm just a little bit tired of Dragon Ball Z. I think that I don't know. It's time to do something else. Only played Tales of Berseria. I think I have. No, I have Tales of Xillia. I have Tales of Xillia on PS3, and I have yet to even play it. We were playing Ni no Kuni, but that stopped fast. But yeah, so Microsoft was just sort of. Phantasy Star Online 2, which I would like to think I'm going to play, and I know that I won't play because I just don't have the kind of time to dedicate to an MMO. But it was very exciting to see that Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming out. That's very nice. It's just MMO, I don't know, can't really do much for it. So that was Microsoft, and then, oh boy, then came Bethesda. I have a copy of Symphonia, but never played it because I've been meaning to play Xenoblade Chronicles, which I've also been putting off because that game is also super long. I started playing Symphonia, got about 10 hours into it, and stopped. Bethesda was yikes, man. So Bethesda had these people. I'm almost 100% sure that there was an open bar at right before the Bethesda presentation, and I'm pretty sure you had to have at least 5 drinks minimum before you went in there, because Bethesda was by far the most annoying presentation. That was the one where people would not shut up. They would not stop screaming and cheering, and it was, "Hi, my name is here, and I'm here to show you this game." Ah! And then people will go crazy, like, "What are you doing? Were you all paid? Did they promise you all canvas bags at the end of the presentation if you went nuts?" Which I would love to see how that played out, because I know they weren't. They were not getting canvas bags. That screaming guy in the audience, oh my god. Hero Hyro, before you leave, or if you're here during the end, I want you to bring up screaming people, because I have a problem with one person in particular. Do you like the hype men in the crowd? Oh, and Hot Goggle, yeah. You can bring that up, because I have a problem with something. They were paid. I believe so. Yeah, nobody. Bethesda announced, yeah! Bethesda audience, I mean. Yeah, it was really annoying, and it was really irritating. It doesn't help that Bethesda didn't show much of anything interesting. The most interesting thing they showed was Ikumi Nakamura. Ikumi Nakamura is definitely the highlight of that presentation. She was a delightful human being. It was so entertaining to watch her in like the minute and a half that she was on stage, if it was even that long. I think she is one of the internet's new favorite people. There was like the trifecta of awesomeness at E3 between individual people, or individual creatures, I should say, was Keanu Reeves, because he just exudes charisma. Ikumi Nakamura, who was spooky. She was so awesome. She was so great. And the dog. Really, no Doom is a highlight. Rami, it looked good. I mean, realistically, Rami, I gotta be completely honest with you. I did not play Doom 2016. The Doom Eternal just looked like an updated Doom 2016. Everything was red. It was a lot of the same for me. I was never a super hyped up Doom person, but it just looked like a souped up Doom 2016. So I wasn't really, it didn't get my energy going. Funny enough, the paid audience backfired because the presenters kept being interrupted. Yeah, I really do think that they were paying them, or the people were just drunk. All I know was it almost felt ridiculous how bad it was for them screaming. I can't believe they killed Commander Keen live on stage. Yeah, I don't have a list of what they did. I don't have my lists here for what everybody else did. Commander Keen was this year's Command and Conquer, which is what people were saying. Like, they were so happy to see the franchise back, and it was some sort of weird mobile game, which I'm not familiar with Commander Keen, so I can't really speak firsthand about any sort of disappointment or anything. But I know that there were some people online that were upset, and even personally, I did even see it, and they showed like Commander Keen footage, and we're talking about how it was on, I think it was Commodore 64, and I remember thinking, oh, that's cool that people who like the older franchises, I'm always a big fan when a really old franchise gets to come back. So I thought that this was great. And when they said mobile game and they showed mobile game footage, I'm like, oh boy, sorry, Commander Keen people, you are pissed. She is bae. Yeah, see, the Bethesda conference was so forgettable that I forgot she was a Bethesda minion. You want me to be completely honest, minion? I had to look it up to see what conference she was in. I kind of thought she was in Ubisoft. And no, she was in the Bethesda conference. I honestly didn't remember. I just remember her. Yeah, there was some weed in the air. Remy, if there was weed in the air, I would imagine everybody would have been more mellow. Like, oh, yeah, cool, Ghostwire, sweet. So Bethesda happened. Devolver Digital was at 10 o'clock at night. They do like a pre-recorded thing for 24 minutes. And for anybody that has never seen a Devolver Digital presentation, I can't even really call it a presentation. It effectively is a skit. It is a 25-minute skit where every once in a while they show some game footage. It is entertaining in that it is a skit. It fails miserably at being a presentation for video games. It does not do a good job of demoing the games. The presentation itself overshadows the games, and it makes the game seem less interesting. And I can tell you that because I don't remember a damn thing from that presentation other than the presentation itself. I don't remember any games. I don't remember any release dates. I don't remember if they're physical only or digital only. Anything. I don't remember any details. All I remember is that it opened like the beginning of RoboCop, and it ended in sort of a post-apocalyptic setting. Like, that's it. I don't remember anything for the games. Again, like I said, it's a funny skit, but it's a bad video game presentation. It's not interesting in that way, and that's what I'm here for. If I want to watch skits, I'll go to YouTube 364 other days of the year. But when I sit down to watch this stuff, I want to see what's coming up for the year. I want to look at all of the games that I'm not going to be able to afford. Fantasy. I'm going to just say fantasy. I think I always say something different every time. Devolver Digital skit was funny this year, at least. They cut off the stream for a gag at one point. Yeah. So why was the Terminator at like 4 different events? Terminator showed up at a couple because I think it's a Doom skin or something. Which I've kept seeing something about Doot. They were adding Doot as a skin, which is hilarious. Messenger is getting some cool DLC. That's all. Yeah, Minion didn't even remember that. Did not even remember that. I just don't remember any of it. Yeah, Terminator was like at 4. I want to say Terminator was at 3 or 4 different events. So that was Devolver Digital movie publicity, which, by the way, I spent the last 2 years calling them Digital Devolver, so I apologize to Devolver Digital for that. Oh, Gears has a Terminator promotion in it. So that was Devolver Digital. The PC gaming show happened. Then Ubisoft, right? I'm saying Ubisoft. I used to say Ubisoft. The whole Devolver copy games they are releasing in Steam. Okay. Terminator wants that sweet money. Ubisoft happened. Ubisoft is Ubisoft. Some of the most amazing announcements during the Ubisoft presentation were that Just Dance 2020, for some reason, is coming out on the Wii. The Wii. Not even the Wii U. The Wii. Hey, a lady dressed up as a shark at the PC show. I'm going to have to go back and watch the PC show. Yeah, somehow the Wii is still getting a Just Dance game. I guess they figure that there's such an install base. Why ditch it? But I can't imagine that people are still rushing out there to buy the Wii Just Dance game. I'm curious how much value those games have, though. Since they are brand new official Studio Wii games, I'm curious if they have any kind of collector's value. And they'll probably get a whole bunch of copies of it at my job. We have Just Dance 2019. Ubi still like, yeah, they still like the Wii for some reason, for Just Dance at least. All I remember from that is Wii, Just Dance, and the dog, which apparently the dog's name is Bam Bam. I did not realize the dog's name is Bam Bam. That's it. That's what I remember from Ubisoft's presentation. I think that a bunch of hospitals buy the Just Dance. Oh, okay, they buy them for rehabilitation. I know senior centers. I forget when the last time I was at a senior center. I don't even remember why I was there, but they had a Wii, and they used to use it for physical therapy. For some people, have told me hospital, retirement centers use them. Yeah, they still use the Wii. It's a very, there's a reason the Wii sold 100 million systems, and that's because it's very intuitive to use. It's very easy to use. Watchdog. Oh, I'm sorry. That was where Watchdog. See, I don't even remember where that game was. Watchdog looked okay. The funniest thing out of the Watchdogs presentation, out of the Watchdogs video, was the granny assassin, the old lady ex-assassin who was. She had me when she went over the railing. But instead of like leaping over the railing in an action movie, she's older. So she like sort of put her leg up and rolled over the railing. That had me. She was hilarious. That was the best thing about that. Other than that, Watch Dogs was just, it was Watch Dogs. Like I was never really super hyped up for Watch Dogs. I never got to play one. So maybe if I play it, it'll be more interesting to me. And Latimer, what's going on? Dragoon Knight, what's going on? I'm pretty sure you were here already, but I'm saying hey. I say hey. Legion has some potential, to be honest. Yeah, I expected worse. I thought that was great. We need more Granny game. Rami, we kind of do, right? I know that sounds like a weird sort of niche thing, but I would like another game or two with elderly heroes just to sort of give them their moment. Like, I think that's great. People like the movie Red. With what the hell was it? John Malkovich and Helen Mirren, and they were like ex-assassins, and that was sort of the charm of it, is that they were these ex-assassins. So it was great to see that. I want more pirate treasure games. I like Watch Dogs 2. The first game is okay, but the second one fixes almost all of the original's problems. Zombie games are overrated. It's the age of the granny games. and Prez, fantasy, there's such a nice transition there, isn't it? Once the elderly players, once they pass on, they become the zombie games. It's a nice transition there. I apologize for anybody. I just beat Wander Song. Help me, Alteria. If Watch Dogs is anything to go by, Brexit is going to be worse than we could ever know. Could be. See, the sort of dystopian situations like that remind me of V for Vendetta. That's what V for Vendetta was kind of like. But yeah, that was Ubisoft. Other than that, Ubisoft was just sort of, they're sort of okay. They were not a disaster. I was hoping Skull and Bones. Speaking of pirate games, I was hoping Skull and Bones would have been shown at Ubisoft, but yeah, wasn't Ubisoft also Beyond Good and Evil 2? Where the hell was that? I thought that was an Ubisoft game. And I would like to have seen that because that trailer actually looked kind of decent last year. Ubisoft had a decent presentation last year. They were actually really good. This year, I don't know, just it fell flat, and it fell flat hard. Ubisoft would like to remind you that the game still isn't political, by the way, which is the dumbest thing. Like it's all political. It's at the very least it's topical. If you want to say it's not political, you go right ahead, but at the very least it is topical and relatable to today's society and our problems. Yeah, I could have sworn they were Beyond Good and Evil, but whatever. I don't know, just sort of a failure. Then came the big boys. These are the ones that we were waiting for. Everybody was waiting for Square Enix, which was okay. Square Enix needs to be broken down into two things. It is the only fair thing to say. Lilac, welcome. Yeah, I catch a great stream. Lilac, that's because we're doing the Silver Lining today, so we're doing a lot of talking today, instead of tomorrow. Why was Ubisoft being topical? I mean, you're talking about Aqua. You're talking about a society that watches its citizens through technology and citizens fighting back. That's going to be topical for a long time with the advent of social media and corporations trying to use social media and manipulate it to their ends. That's always going to be topical. You know, the lines begin to get, in the old days, there were computers and then there were the bad guys, the computer hackers. But now in our real society, you've got situations where technology is being used against citizens. So the hackers have become the good guys. And that's going to be topical for a long time. For as long as computers exist, I believe that's going to be a topic to be discussed. But the range of that topic goes into politics. So that's why you can't say that these topics don't involve politics. We live in a society right now in the US where technology may or may not have been used to interfere with our presidential election. That is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. And that issue starts in technology, and it continues. Actually, you don't even know where it starts. It starts in technology or it starts in politics. You don't know. You have no idea where all of this goes, where all of it comes from. We live in a society. Yeah, the stream should have just cut off right there. But Square Enix needs to be broken down into two, getting back on topic, into two subjects. Final Fantasy VII Remake and everything else. That's really the Square, because I've heard people say that Square Enix's presentation was better than Nintendo's presentation. As a presentation, no. Nintendo, the volume of what Nintendo showed, the quality of what they showed was more impressive than Squaresoft. Or Square Enix. I keep saying Squaresoft. Than Square Enix. But Square Enix had Final Fantasy VII Remake, which on its own was probably the most impressive single presentation showing announcement of the entire conference. Square Enix's Final Fantasy VII showing was better than anything in Nintendo's showing, in my opinion. But the Nintendo presentation as a whole was significantly better. G7 had to be, yeah, and Lilac, and even that was some of the artwork. In terms of which one got me the most excited, it was Square Enix. But when I think about it on the technical side, Nintendo did a much better job of presenting the things that are coming our way. I think that only one or two of their games, Fire Emblem. See, okay, this is the gag with Nintendo. This is the caveat with Nintendo's presentation, is that Nintendo has the ability to fire things off relatively quickly. For instance, Fire Emblem, during the actual direct presentation, that was a cutscene only trailer. I can't even say CG because it was actually anime style. But that was a non-gameplay trailer. But Nintendo does 3 days of the Treehouse. So they show all of this stuff later on. So yes, we got a cinematic only Fire Emblem trailer. But we got an actual Fire Emblem presentation later on, during one of the tree houses. So that's different. Nintendo they are able to get around a lot of the limitations of having to do a presentation because they have 3 days of showings during the entire E3 week. Square got me more excited because of Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VIII. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy VIII did very much excite me. May I scream because I didn't understand the Avengers game much at all. I know the point. I don't know the point was of the voice cast reveal. They wanted Diego. They wanted people to understand that these are not supposed to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers. Because there were people who were saying, oh, well, I prefer Robert Downey Jr. and all this. They want people to understand that this is not the same Avengers. That there are different characters here, that the storyline is different, that Iron Man is not, you know what happened with him. They were trying to highlight the fact that this was not the Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers. Because without saying that, there is that question. There is the question of, is this the MCU in video game form? Are these supposed to be the same characters? Where are these other characters? They want to highlight the fact that this is a different group of people. So this is the start of the Marvel video game universe. I don't think so, Rami. I think that this may be the start of Square Enix's Marvel Avengers universe. I clapped when I saw Captain America getting whacked. Yeah, that was kind of cool. The Fire Emblem trailer sold the game for me. Yeah, and Crimson, did you see? Welcome, Crimson, by the way. Did you see some of the footage that they were showing during the Treehouse? Because it actually does look very impressive. Square Enix, Final Fantasy VII Remake was phenomenal for me. I'm finally on board that hype train. My hype level for the Final Fantasy Remake was about a 3 out of 10. Now it is up to an 8 because we got to see the combat system. The combat system looks very cool, very intelligent combat system. I like that the system makes it so that when you're going through areas and you're fighting, you're overpowered compared to the enemies that are there. You won't have to enter the command system. You'll just have to hit them with your sword a couple of times and it's over. I like that. I get a kick out of that. I sleep because Marvel. I thought most of the Avengers trailer was CG, but apparently they removed the HUD on some of those clips. Yeah, Hawk Goggles. They did that with Nintendo. Did that with one of their games, and I have a problem with it. But we'll get to Nintendo. They showed the Mana trailer, the Trails of Mana, which is a remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, which we never got in the US, and then they showed us the Collection of Mana, which is Seiken Densetsu 1, 2, and 3 in original form on the Switch. That was available that day. The Collection of Mana is available right now. It was available the same day. It was actually available at the end of the presentation. $40 and you get them all. I find the Collection of Mana very interesting because Seiken Densetsu 1 is still called Final Fantasy Adventure on the collection. I find that very interesting. I'm a little weird that it's not just called Seiken Densetsu, but we all know it that way. That's one of those. That's the sort of Doki Doki Panic, is actually Mario Brothers 2. Seiken Densetsu 1 being Final Fantasy Adventure is one of those sort of bits of knowledge that a lot of people do know, but a lot of people didn't used to know. Also, the Collection of Mana, and I'm upset that they didn't say that. Collection of Mana is getting a physical release August 28th. I'm sorry, I've got my back scratcher here, so I'm like... so I'm pretty excited that we are getting a physical copy because I do love physical copies. Unfortunately, that is probably going to be one of the games that I can't get. The ROM of Seiken 3 has been extracted already, so I will be sure to... Lizard, I will be sure to look for that. If anybody wants to send it my way... I picked it up the moment it went up. Now I got the bestest Final Fantasy. Life is Strange 2. I did not play the first Life is Strange, but I've had a lot of people telling me that I really should play that game. So, what if I had a computer? Life is Strange 2 was shown. Looks pretty decent. Final Fantasy 8 was shown. My understanding, the rumor that I heard, and someone can confirm this in the comments, either here or on the YouTube video comments. that Square Enix tracked down the PC port ROMs or PC port files, ISOs, whatever they're called, of Final Fantasies 7 and 8. Because supposedly the source code was lost for Final Fantasy 8, so everybody thought that it wasn't happening. The rumor that I heard was that they managed to track down the PC port ISOs that came out a long time ago, and that is where this remaster is coming from. It is not from the ground up remaster. It is a remaster of the PC port of the game. Would it be correct to say that Square Enix took second place? Aqua, I would absolutely put them in second place because the stuff that they did announce was very impressive. Also, someone who doesn't care that I say the fact that they're doing a remaster for it surprised me, especially since they stressed in the past they couldn't do it. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That the rumor that I had heard from that was that they managed to find who had the ISOs of the PC port, and then the remaster is being built from that, which is very important. That's very interesting because I remember we talked about that before when people were talking about how Final Fantasy VII, when it came to Steam, people were talking about how it's available on PC, and I remember that no, these games were on PC before. They had actual PC big box releases. I would love to have a PC big box release of Final Fantasy VII and 8. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I heard they got the people that did the PC ports to replace the lost source codes. Yeah, see, that would be that's an interesting story that I would like to find out about. I like how Square remade Kingdom Hearts 1 for the 1.5. Oh. I could tell it's not from the ground up. It's still a big deal. And graphically, Ziego, if you go and look up pictures of... Oh, thank you, Lilac, for that post right there. If you look at the side-by-sides of the Final Fantasy VIII original and then the remaster, it looks gorgeous. It looks like a very, very high-quality PS2, maybe even early PS3 game, which doesn't sound impressive, but when you look at them side-by-side, it actually really is impressive. And I really liked Final Fantasy VIII. I'm glad that it's being redone. I was disappointed when I found out that it was not being redone. Now my biggest problem is how much it's going to be. If they're going to charge $50 for it, that's going to be kind of an issue, but what are you going to do other than not play it? Now, if only Square can put SNES era Final Fantasy games on console. Hyrule, I would very much appreciate a Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection for the Switch, all with translated ports. Hawkeye, they're saying $29.99 for that port. Given that it's a remaster, that's not awful. And not to mention that it's going to be the first time Final Fantasy VIII is really available. Well, no, because it was on PC, so yeah, so that's going to be pretty decent. Oh, that's a joke. Yeah, Hawkeye was, for it being a remaster, I would actually be accepting of $29.99. That is my top end limit for a re-release of an old game. $20 is my limit for a port. $30 is my limit for some kind of a remaster. If you build the game from the ground up, that's different. Now we're talking about, the Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm fine with that being a $50, $60 game. That is a from the ground up rebuild. That's totally okay. Give me PSP, Final Fantasy 3 remake port. Yeah, I will take some ports of the PSP versions of the games. That would be very nice. There was a thing from Nintendo Life that said Square Enix is hoping to make its entire library available on video game platforms. I don't need it available on video game platforms, just the Switch. I can't see it being anything more than $30. Weren't the remasters of 7. Remasters, they were like remastered ports. 7 was $15.99. 9 was $20.99. They're actually on sale, by the way. For anybody that is interested in any of those ports on the Switch, they are on sale. I just got Final Fantasy VII for $12.49, which was less after I used up all my gold coins on the Switch eShop. But yeah, they're actually all on sale right now. So if you have been looking to pick them up, this is actually a decent opportunity. It's only like a 20-30% sale, but it's, a little something. That's not too awful. Drops them down to a more reasonable price considering they are ports. So that stuff was announced. It was actually really interesting. They had some cool stuff. Why is 9 almost double the price? Oh, no. $15.99 and $29. Not $29.99, $20.99. It's a very odd price. $21 basically. $16 and $21. Yeah, it's a very odd price. I don't remember a game ever coming out for $20.99. Because 9 is a better game. Ooh. I mean, it's close. It's definitely a bigger game. I do love 9, though. I think 9 is amazing. I do want to pick up 9 again. The PSP version was less crusty, if I remember. Final Fantasy 3 Remake was DS first. Yeah, it was DS first, wasn't it? So yeah, Square Enix was okay. I mean, we didn't get... I think it says 29. Yeah, meaning 30. Yeah, no. $20.99. Like those old comic book series. There were like Spider-Man $20.99, which I have a stack of those in my basement. But yeah, so they were okay. We didn't get any Octopath Traveler DLC. We didn't get any Final Fantasy VI Remake using Octopath Traveler's graphics. No Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics on the Switch. We didn't get any fun stuff like that. But I was not expecting any of that stuff. It was just sort of a laugh to kind of dream that it was going to happen. But we didn't get it. But, Square Enix still definitely second place. Second place by far compared to... No, not by far. Compared to Nintendo. We got Romancing or Saga Frontier 3 or Romancing Saga. I think it was Romancing Saga 3. I didn't know that those games were 2D sprite based. So I'm going to have to go and check those out. The only one I have is Unlimited Saga. I'm going to the convention this weekend, or next weekend. So maybe Saga Frontier. Maybe I can pick up a copy of Saga Frontier. Yeah, Romancing Saga 3. I'm going to see if I can bring up a list of exactly what Nintendo showed. Game list. Because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Let me see here. I wish there was a... I've got a short list here. Here, we'll start from... Yeah, this list is not in order of what we saw. Here, we'll start from the bottom and work our way up because some of the hot stuff was there. Yeah, Romancing Saga 3. Overcooked 2, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, Elder Scroll Blades. I think a lot of that stuff, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. What the hell? I don't remember if that was there. I think a lot of that stuff was in like a sizzle reel. I think they showed a lot of that stuff there. I have a list of stuff myself, so if you forget anything, I may have it here. Okay. So we're not going to talk about this in order that it was on the presentation just because I don't have a list of how it was ordered that way. They showed Wolfenstein Youngblood. That's okay. New Super Lucky's Tale, which is I've never played before, but is apparently a Microsoft property, so it's very interesting that that's coming out. Collection of Mana, Trails of Mana. Rad, I think they showed earlier today. Today is the indie day for the Treehouse. So that's what they're talking about there. Oh, that Bowser. Yeah, let's start from the beginning there with that Bowser introduction. There was an introduction where I forget who it was that came out, but he was introducing with Bowser, and it was the actual like CG Bowser. It was the actual big Bowser, and then Doug Bowser came out, and there was like some confusion because who was supposed to be there. That was very fun. It was very entertaining and enjoyable without being too over the top. Look, I love the puppets. I love Reginator. I love a lot of the gimmicky things that Nintendo has done to show their presentations, but it's not always necessary. And this was sort of this was a standard direct. It was very right to the point, as far as what we were going to see, which I think we've gotten used to for the last couple of directs. For E3, we usually do get a little bit more of a skit. So it was nice to see this little bit but then not a whole gimmicky skit. Well, how was Bowser trying to use the Infinity Gauntlet? I'm the right Bowser for this presentation. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, and then, they jumped into the Smash Brothers announcement, which we got the first, so it's standard. We got the first Smash Brothers announcement, which was, we got a Smash Brothers announcement, which was the Dragon Quest Hero. And then I believe 4 of the costumes are 4 different, that was the best direct. Oh, which one? The puppets or the Reginator? Because I love I think I like the Reginator more than I like the puppets. So we got Dragon Quest Heroes, the hero, I'm sorry. And we got 4 different versions of the hero, which is very cool because that's, we got tons in a way we automatically got tons of Dragon Quest representation, which, sorry, people who don't like Dragon Quest, which I am not even a huge Dragon Quest player myself, but Dragon Quest is big in Japan. How this character, how a character from Dragon Quest has not made it into Smash Brothers until now is beyond me. I can't believe that that's the case. 4 different heroes, and they're all color swap based on a protagonist from a different game. Yeah, so 8 costumes, but they're all the same character, it looks like. They're not like 4 Echo Fighters or anything like that. I can't believe we're getting 4 new amiibo at once. For that amiibo, since it's all one character, I would appreciate one giant amiibo with all 4 of them. I think that would be kind of cool. I think everybody will probably hate me for that because they would rather have 4 separate amiibo, but I think that would be kind of cool. You guys know that Square Enix and the Dragon Quest composer are going to be stingy with the soundtrack. Oh, I don't know about that. I've been hearing there are people complaining about the Dragon Quest character because he's a sword user. Well, my joke was people screaming during conference. Thank you, Hero Hyrule. I very much appreciate it. Have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Hopefully you stop back in, check out the rest of the VOD for this discussion here. My joke was that people are not going to know that that's a Dragon Quest character and be upset that there's another Fire Emblem character. Probably because Square dropped Nintendo for a while during the N64. Yeah, it was a while before they came back with Nintendo. Can we skip to the end? well, that's not the end. That part of it is definitely not the end. So I mean that was, it's Smash Brothers, so it's up to you whether or not Smash Brothers you care about. There was some other light, the Dead by Daylight, Empire of Sin, which Empire of Sin is like this 1920s themed overhead shooter or something. I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the time period aesthetic, so I'm not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of that game. Resident Evil 5 and 6 were big announcements. I thought that was really cool because that means that... So which Resident Evil games are on the Switch now? 0, 1... 4, 5, 6, I think, are on the Switch now, along with some of the other ones. I need some water here. All the mainline, but 7. Well, were 2 and 3? 2 and 3. I didn't think 2 and 3 were released on the Switch, or were they? 0, 1, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, 4, 5, and 6. 7 is Cloud. Oh, 7 is on the Switch. Yeah. And then 2 and 3. We don't have 2, 3, or Code Veronica. Because I think even though Code Veronica is a side story, I think it's still considered part of the mainline story. So we're waiting for that. So that was pretty cool. Dauntless, Last Remnant Remastered looked pretty good. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. We all knew a Mario and Sonic at the Olympics game was coming. I'm a little surprised that it's coming out this November and not next year. That's a little bit of a surprise to me, considering that next year is the Olympics. I figured it would be early next year. Minion, we'll get there. I thought we had Code Veronica. Is Code Veronica on the Switch? That's something I would have to see. DLC, I believe. Okay, so Hollow Knight Silk Song, I thought was DLC. I don't know if it's DLC or an actual game. Witcher 3, which a lot of people knew was coming, but now this is an official announcement for it, which is kind of impressive. I've wanted to play Witcher, so it'd be cool to have it on the Switch and not be able to play it. No More Heroes 3, which I did not follow the No More Heroes games. Silksong is a new game. Okay. Olympic Games have historically come out the holiday season before the real world Olympics. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I guess I never noticed that pattern with those games. They showed Eggman without a shirt. They showed Eggman running hurdles, which was fantastic. By the way, that Mario and Sonic in the Olympics, very interested in the fact that they showed what looked to be a 16-bit graphic version of them running. I would like to know what that is all about. Dragon Quest Builders 2, which was, I believe that was actually announced. It was shown during Nintendo, but announced during Square Enix. Along with Dragon Quest 11. Very cool. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer was shown, which we already knew about. That actually came out today, as of today, June 13th. That is $25, so I don't think I'll be dropping that on an indie game. That's a bit disappointing, though, because I did want to play that game. It does look interesting. I'm trying to blast through some of the other ones that I'm not going to talk about much. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Ultimate Alliance 3. We got to see more gameplay for Astral Chain. Astral Chain actually looks really cool. I'm more interested in the game now than I was before, so we'll see what happens there. They showed Daemon X Machina. They showed Daemon X Machina in the state that it is in since we got the developer's demo, and we got to give input as to what is going into the game and how the game is going to change. My biggest issue with that game was that it had a very, very cluttered UI. The game footage that they were showing had the UI removed completely. You can't play the game without some kind of information on the screen. The footage that they showed removed that UI completely. So I had a problem with that footage because I can't tell if it fixes my biggest problem. So I'm a little disappointed in it. Visually, the game looks fantastic, but I am a little disappointed that I don't get to see if they corrected my biggest issue with the game. Other than that, it looked really cool. Some of the stuff they showed was very cool. They showed off more Daemon. See, and that's the thing. And Hawk Goggles, I hate this because I love the concept of the tree houses, but we're talking about all of this stuff. I don't have the time to sit down and watch 5 hours a day, 3-4 days in a row of treehouse footage. So I know that they showed a lot of this stuff and talked about it and probably answered the questions that I have, but I just haven't seen it all. I can't stand that. Okay. They showed Pokemon Sword and Shield. They showed some more of that stuff, which is hilarious to me that the time when they showed Pokemon was my chance to catch my breath, because right before they showed Pokemon, they showed something remarkable. So I'm going to go through this. They showed Mario Maker. We got some very cool information about Mario Maker. Mario Maker had the biggest problem with the game was that you were not going to be able to play online with your friends. It looks like they are correcting that, and that in a download not long after the game is released, they are going to add a mode where you can play with your friends, which is very big, very important. I am error. Oh, that was when the thing messed up. The Nintendo split up all the Treehouse segments and put them on there. Yeah, so Hawk, I intend to sit down and go through and watch them. The only one I did watch was the Animal Crossing one, which we'll talk about that. They showed Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay, I'm just not a Luigi's Mansion fan. I did not enjoy the first one. Crucify me for that if you would like, but the bottom line is I just didn't like it. And then they showed some trash about Fire Emblem. No, I'm kidding you. No, I did see The Fire Emblem, they had an anime cinematic trailer during the actual event, and then they showed some stuff later on. I have not watched the entire Fire Emblem Treehouse event, so I do want to go and check that out. I did watch a little clip of it, and it did look really good. So I know that there are at least a few people in here, in this stream in particular, in this chat in particular, that are very, very excited for Fire Emblem. It does look really cool. I'm curious about the premise. I do like the Three Houses premise. The Three Houses premise reminds me of the Pokemon Go teams. What was it? Valor, Mystic, and I don't remember what the last one was. Wow. Team Valor, Team Mystic, and wow, I don't remember what the last one was. Has it been that long since I played Pokemon Go? Sad that Mega Evolutions. Oh yeah. Yeah, red, blue, and yellow. Team Ligma. Instinct. Thank you. That was the last team. What else? Oh my God, they show. I'm going back and forth here because I'm trying not to. At some point they showed Rat. Oh, here was an interesting show. An interesting showing. I did not know that the Dark Crystal was getting a Netflix show. So when I saw it, I thought they were advertising the Netflix show. It turns out that there is a Dark Crystal tactical game based on the Netflix reboot. Okay, a tactical game right up my alley. Dark Crystal. Now we're talking. I was actually very impressed. That was probably the surprise for me. The big surprise. Oh goodness, they're the same color as they use in Pokemon. Neat. So that was actually kind of a big surprise for me. I was pretty happy to see that. Okay, so we saw all of that stuff. Then we got into the big boys. I am saving one in particular for later on that I want to talk about. Contra Anniversary Collection. I did not know that there was a release date for the Contra Anniversary Collection. If there was, I forgot about it. But they showed Contra Rogue Core, a brand new Contra game. Wow. Out of the water. Blew me out of the water. I am very much intrigued to play it because it was not a side scroller. It was this sort of top-down picture of beat 'em up, but with guns. So I was very interested to see what happens there. It's a nice-looking Wii game. Then they showed the Contra Collection and said that the Contra Collection is available either it was that day or the next day. I did not know that was coming out so soon. So that is another cool game on the Switch eShop that I can't afford to buy. So they showed that. I was very impressed by that. I thought that was nice to see. They showed Mario Maker 2. You know, Mario Maker. They had a bunch of stuff for Mario Maker. They showed Animal Crossing. I was very confused with Animal Crossing. Well, they showed No More Heroes. I mentioned No More Heroes 3. I did not follow the No More Heroes series, so I knew that it was No More Heroes. I knew that it was Travis Touchdown and all, but I'm not familiar with the series, so it was hard for me to get really hype about it. I think that announcing the collection after revealing a different kind of new game was a smart idea, which was double. They did that twice. They did that with Trials of Mana or Trails of Mana. Trials, right? Trials of Mana. And then they announced the collection, and they did it with Contra. So that was actually really cool. I can go for that. You know what? Dragoon Knight, I would not be opposed to them announcing a new Final Fantasy game and using that opportunity to announce a new Final Fantasy collection with 1 through 6 in it. Can we say Andre from Game Explained had the idea of Animal Crossing right or close? Oh yeah, I remember seeing a video for that he was pretty close to it. When I saw the Animal Crossing stuff, I got excited, but I actually was very confused because I wasn't sure. Like, I honestly thought that it was Pocket Camp. I thought it was some sort of new Pocket Camp or something. I thought we were being trolled. And when I realized that it was not, I was still kind of surprised. I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. It was weird that we got away from the forest setting. It was weird that we got away from that, and it was confusing me. One of the things that was confusing me about being away from the forest setting is that we have had the island setting. You know, we've had the island that we row our boat over to. RS Ray, what's going on? That we take our boat over to him, and I catch bugs and make a fortune. So I wasn't sure what we were seeing at first. So then when I realized that it was New Horizons and that was the new game, I was pretty happy with that. It looks amazing visually. It looks like there's going to be a ton of cool stuff you can do. I was a little bummed out about the release date, but here's my issue with the release date. Yes, we did get them saying 2019 before, but they did explain why, that they want to stretch it out a little bit so that they've got more time. RS Ray, we're talking about Animal Crossing right now. I am fine with the release date. Let's be honest, we got tons of stuff coming out, especially in September. We got my boy that we got to talk about. We got to talk about my new son's video game that he is going to be debuting in, and so I was okay with them pushing back the release date. I like that the reasoning is that they don't want to create crunch for their developers. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them turning this into the biggest, greatest Animal Crossing ever. I'm fine with a lot of the changes that they make. I did watch the Treehouse for that. I like that you can change your skin color right off the bat, and you don't have to go out and get a tan that is eventually going to go away. I like that. Is the camera and audio desynced for everybody? I liked that you can change your hairstyle on the fly. I hate going through the rigmarole of getting a new hairstyle, and then if I don't play the game for 2 weeks, I lose my hairstyle because I got bedhead. I think that that's a dumb... Is it? Okay, well, I don't know this unless everybody tells me. Okay, so let's deactivate and activate. All right, let's see if we can put it back. Hopefully it's back to where it was. Yeah, I don't know. I say that over and over again. I don't know unless everybody tells me. So, but I do appreciate letting me know that it's all messed up. They said they won't have direct connectivity to Pocket Camp either. A lot of the words were answered in the Treehouse. Yeah, the Isabelle is showing up. I'm worried. I'm worried for Isabelle, everybody. I'm a little bit worried because what's going to happen is we are on a tropical island. Isabelle is going to show up and she's going to put on a bathing suit. And the R34 community is going to lose their minds. I am worried for my girl. I am worried. But a lot of the stuff that they showed was very impressive. It's already been done. Yeah, but Lizard, of course it's already been done. But what's going to happen when she shows up in a Nintendo Canon bathing suit? Bathing suit will do little. You're far too late. Oh, no. I know. Believe me. I know that stuff's out there, but we are going to get a massive resurgence of that stuff, especially if they put her in an actual bathing suit. Let's be clear. It's going to happen again, and it's going to happen worse. It's going to be toned down. So I am very impressed with Animal Crossing. I don't mind that they're delaying it. The funny thing is, I have a vacation. The way my job's vacations work, I have 4 weeks of paid vacation, and at the end of April, it goes from May through April. So May 1st through April 30th is the cycle for our vacations. So I have already picked all of my vacations for this year. I've got 2 weeks coming up in the next 2 weeks. I've got another week, I believe, at the beginning of October, and then I've got a week in March. So I may actually move my March vacation so that it's the week after Animal Crossing comes out so that I can play a bunch of Animal Crossing because I'm going to spend that week playing Animal Crossing. So I like the fact that it was delayed. I'm totally okay with that. I don't even know which one of these to talk about next. Link's Awakening. We got RS Ray. That's going to be the last one. Link's Awakening. We got to see a ton of footage on it. I watched a 10-minute playthrough. I think Game Explained played the demo for 10 minutes where they got to the first dungeon. Oh, small highlight is that Ni no Kuni... Okay, so here's the thing, Aqua. The Switch version is not the remaster. The Switch version is a port. The remasters are PS4 and Xbox, and I don't know about PC or not. Ni no Kuni is not... the Switch version is not the remastered version. It's just a port. Unless they have announced that as a different thing in the last day or so, that is just a port. Funny thing, Nintendo's market lost $1 billion after. Yeah, I saw that they lost like $1 billion in value. I mean, they're worth $40 billion. Remastered just visual upgrade. Yeah, they announced that Ni no Kuni is just a port of the other versions. The PS4 and Xbox versions are going to be 60 frames per second. Everything is sharper, like they remastered everything. The Switch version is just a regular one. Still looks good. It still looks good, and I'll probably still not be able to pick it up and look at it on the shelf. But yeah, Link's Awakening. What a fantastic looking game. Visually, it's amazing. I love the art style. I don't care what anybody says. I know people were upset about the art style. I think it's delightful. It's adorable. It fits perfectly with the aesthetic. They're releasing an amiibo for my son who is coming out September 20th. And I can't wait to buy him because he looks adorable. There is that Dungeon Maker Latimer, thank you. They have some sort of feature where you can earn dungeon rooms as materials and then put together your own dungeons. I'm very interested in that. Latimer, hopefully that is a prelude to Legend of Zelda Maker. Because if you make a Mario Maker style game with Legend of Zelda and you allow people to create their own dungeons, their own puzzles, and their own environments using Zelda 1, Zelda 3, Link Between Worlds, and Link's Awakening graphic schemes, that's it. That's it. That's you win. You win the year if you do that. There's an edition of Link's Awakening that comes with an art book, which I would love to have. I still don't know if that's coming out in the US or not. I can't wait to buy my son. Wait, you buy your children? A Lilac, when they come in the form of an amiibo? Yes, I do. And apparently the amiibos can do a bunch of different stuff in the Dungeon Maker. I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah, it just, if you all have not seen, I'm directing you all to, I won't even direct you to the Animal Crossing stuff. If you have not watched Link's Awakening on the full playthrough on YouTube or the direct, watch it. It is such a great looking game. It is. You can order it now. Oh, okay, good. So you coat them in plastic and then buy them. No, Lilac, I let somebody else coat them in plastic and then I buy them. I think it makes Shadow Link follow you through the dungeon instead of having a boss fight at the end. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what my other Zelda amiibos do. And then I have been saving this for the end. Oh, I'm sorry. And then Banjo-Kazooie was announced for Smash Brothers. He won't be out. They won't be out until the fall. That was a pretty cool announcement. It was very cool that the fight was between Dragon Quest and Banjo, and people got both their ways. That was very nice. It was a nice compromise. You know, some people want Banjo, some people want Dragon Quest, so they compromised and gave us both. I thought that was pretty amazing. The thing that was... I did enjoy the tease. I did enjoy the tease with Duck Hunt dog was pretending to be Banjo, and then Banjo actually came down from the sky and attacked him. But my biggest one, which if I ever fix my reaction video, I did a reaction video for this, by the way. I did actually record myself reacting to everything. There were only a couple of times that I really lost it. One of them was when they announced Panzer Dragoon being remade, rebuilt from the ground up, is being made for the system. It is Panzer Dragoon 1. Yeah. No, Minion. The trumpet was kind of like, huh? And then when the head of the dragon appeared, I almost lost it. I almost freaking lost my mind. It's the part one. It's part one. I know they're gonna flesh it out. They're building it. I imagine it's not going to be, because reality is the first Panzer Dragoon game can be beaten in like a half an hour. So I feel like they're going to flesh it out. What I am hoping beyond hoping for is the thing that you all expect me to say, that this leads to Panzer Dragoon 2, or Zwei, I think it was called, which leads to Panzer Dragoon Saga. I have been, for anybody that has been on this channel, that has watched my streams and watched our streams really, listen to me talk about Panzer Dragoon, you have heard me say multiple times, I don't understand why at this point in time, with all of the popularity that Panzer Dragoon does have, with all of the fondness that everybody does have for it, why they have not rebuilt Saga from the ground up. It is the most notoriously hard to get game on the system. There were only like 10,000 copies. I don't understand why somebody hasn't taken it upon himself to rebuild the game from the ground up. Yes, the source code was gone, which means you don't get a port. But that doesn't stop you from taking the story, the maps, the characters, the music, everything, and rebuilding a brand new game using these elements. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. I'm hoping that this remaster or remake is the beginning. What I would love to find out is that it is also 1 and 2 together. I would hope that this is a remake of Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2, just marketed as, but yeah, Minion, exactly. I would love for them to say later on that they are together, that it is called Panzer Dragoon because it is both of them. It is 1 and 2 put together, which means later on we could get Panzer Dragoon Saga. I feel like it is not a possibility. But at the same time, I feel like I feel that way because it has not been a possibility for so long. You know what I mean? I spent years telling myself that it was not going to happen just to make myself feel better about the fact that it wasn't going to happen. And now we have a path. We have a realistic path of creation up to the Panzer Dragoon Saga remake. I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited for the possibility of it. I was freaking out. It was definitely the moment during my reactions that I was freaking out the most. So I would very, very much love to pick this game up. I want to see more of it being made. I'm still dreaming of Skies of Arcadia on the Switch. Dragon Knight, they're doing Grandia. Grandia 1 and 2 is getting a remaster. I would not be too surprised. I hope they include the original in the remake just for those that want to experience it. Ray, I think that would be interesting. I question whether or not it would be necessary. If they have to skip, it would be nice to have, but I'm fine if they skip it. Sega is theoretically halfway there to remaking the Panzer Dragoon Saga. The assets will already exist by the... Yeah, exactly. Minion, and that's exactly my point. There is... Now, what I wanted is mostly done. You know, the biggest things that needed to be done, the assets, the graphic engines, the character models, That stuff is done. Now you just have to put the game together. You have effectively created the pieces that you need. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm hyping myself up here. Take a look at it, and that's due to the news that we will make whatever we want. Sonic and Knuckles. We're going to get Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Here we go. Since it's not on the mini, the Mega Drive Mini. Amazing show. Did I miss anything? From Nintendo? I'm looking through my sort of list thingy here. I don't think I missed. There's this game called Rad on here, which I think was announced today. Trials of Mana. For any time that I said Trails of Mana, it is Trials of Mana. It looks like I got everything, I think. What about Knuckles and Knuckles? I never played the game, but I immediately got excited at the music because I know how big of a deal this is. Yeah, Crimson. That's sort of, you know, what I'm sorry, Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2, which was teased. You know, they showed a little bit of that just to say that it's in development, which is always great. I like that they're going back to the creepier atmosphere. It's spooky. Breath of the Wild 2, electric breathing. No, what did I say? I said one of them. It's like exhale of the crazy or something. Oh look, a new Zelda 2. It looks great. You know, for what we saw, it looks like an updated Breath of the Wild. I think that was a big question when it first happened. I know that there were a lot of people questioning whether or not this was a new game or whether this was DLC. But then they did say that a sequel to Breath of the Wild is being done. So it reminds me of Majora's Mask. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. A lot of people were saying that they like the darker atmosphere of it the same way they like Majora's Mask for that. So it's very interesting. Overall, Nintendo was phenomenal. Nintendo, for as much as people don't like to hear one E3, Nintendo dominated E3. They came out on top, in my opinion. Again, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake was the best single presentation to come out of E3. But as far as conferences as a whole, Nintendo's was just so overwhelmingly better than everybody else. There was such a volume of everything that was amazing. It was ultimately the winner as far as presentations go. All I know is with the amount of stuff that came out, whoever wins, our wallets lose. Not only that, it was seen that Nintendo was foreshadowing that next year's E3 for them is going to be big. Can you imagine? I mean, you think about it. We didn't see anything from Metroid Prime 4, which I was not expecting. We didn't see anything from Bayonetta 3, which I was not expecting, but I was expecting them to at least mention that the development is going smoothly or anything like that. I'm a little upset that they didn't say anything at all. As I said earlier, as a Final Fantasy fan, Square got me very hyped, but Nintendo had the most Nintendo had the most consistent, better quality of announcements. There is more to them than any other conference. And that's hard to say because Microsoft had Keanu Reeves. So Nintendo definitely won that one. They win, our wallets lose. It's very disappointing. Those were not even the only announcements that we got. This is all an E3 episode. This is going to be all E3. That was not even the only announcement. We got the announcement of a TurboGrafx Mini. What? The US is getting a TurboGrafx Mini. Europe is getting the Core Graphics Mini, and and Japan is getting the PC Engine Mini. Better start setting money aside. So far, they've only announced 6 games for each system. I did not see the UK list. I saw the US list, which is okay. Ys Book 1 and 2 is on there, which is very interesting. Ys Book 1 and 2 is on there. Ys Book 1 and 2 was a CD game. That was actually a Turbo CD game. So I'm very interested to see what else ends up on these minis. Japan is getting Rondo of Blood on their mini. Wild. I'm a little less disappointed about that just because we do have the Castlevania Requiem, which already has the PC Engine version of the game on it. So it's not like we don't have a way to play it. But how cool would it be if we got that? I think that would be kind of cool. Japan seems to be getting different games compared. Okay, so the US and the UK are probably getting the same list. Japan is the only one getting a different list. I want to play Ys, but I need to buy 8. Well, you only need to buy 1 and 2 at first. Hudson Soft made 16-bit console back in the day to compete. Aqua, you're not familiar with the TurboGrafx 16. That's my turbo booster. I've got it over there. Here, hold on. Let me hang on a second here. I've got one right here. This is the turbo. It's hard to see. The TurboGrafx 16, was a US system. It was not the PC Engine in the U. No, I don't think the UK actually had it. The UK had the TurboGrafx, but it was like mail order. They didn't get a full wide release like we did. So a UK colored TurboGrafx is, from what I understand, is actually relatively rare because I believe they were mail order only or some sort of special program or something. So we got the TurboGrafx. We got this huge CD attachment to it. We also got the Turbo Express Portable, which was a handheld that took the turbo chips. These I have right here. The CD player was obviously CD-based games. The regular games were these. In the US, they were called HuCards. These are TurboGrafx games. They were called HuCards in the US. In Japan, I'm sorry. Yeah, they were. What were they in the UK? In Japan, were they HuCards here? No, they were HuCards there too. I think they just used to call them Turbo Chip games or something here. But they were HuCards, and they were these little cards that you would slip in, and that was how they played them. The Turbo Express took the same cards. So if you bought a Turbo Express Portable, which is the Turbo Express Portable, this took the same games. Very, very cool. I love this thing. I have to get this fixed. This is actually, my capacitors died, so I don't get an image on the screen anymore. But yeah, so they took the same games. So they're making minis for it. They're making mini systems for each one of them. Every region is getting a different looking one, and it looks like the US and UK might be getting the same game list, and then Japan is getting a different game list. So it's very interesting. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, Rondo was Japan exclusive. It looks like a bulky Game Boy. Aqua, it pretty much was. I have a Game Boy. It's a little buried right now. But it was, it's definitely significantly bigger. It takes 6 AA batteries. It was a beast of a system. But it was a cool system. I mean, I take this, when it was working, I was taking this to too many games, and I was playing this at too many games. It was great. I hope the pricing is, I think it's going to be somewhere around $60. Hopefully not more than like $70. Minion, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. I'm actually really hoping that it is hackable and we can get some more games on there. But yeah, they're making that, and that was sort of a shadow drop. That was announced at like 9:00 at night, yesterday or the day before. It was very amazing that it was just sort of randomly mentioned. Arcade 1UP, who does those 3/4 size arcade stand-up machines that cost probably a little bit more than they should, but are very cool to look at nonetheless. They are doing a couple more. One of them has 2 Ninja Turtles games on it, and I think The Punisher. And then, no, 2 Ninja Turtles games, and I think there was something else on there. And I would not do the illegals. Of course not. Why would I ever consider doing something even remotely illegal? But the Arcade 1UP, they're doing a Star Wars. For anybody that has ever seen the Star Wars arcade machine, they're doing an announcement for that. They're doing one of those. Very cool. Yeah, I know. I got to get on these sound clips more. Well, you know what happened, Lilac? They released a Stream Deck XL that has 32 buttons on the front, so I would not have to switch between pages, but I can't afford to spend that money right now because that's $250, I think. Got one of those at half price and modded it. I would like Fantasy, the arcade 1-up machine. I wanted to get one of those, the Vector games. Yeah. Neon Mole. I believe that's what it is. It was the one that has the big thing in the front. Turtles cabinet would be $350. Marvel cabinet would be $250. Like, that's so much money for those games. It's very cool to have that arcade experience. It's just a lot of money. $350 for 3 games for Turtles, because it's Turtles in Time, which is the arcade version, so nobody really remembers that. And there's another game on there. And then the Marvel machine has Marvel Superheroes, X-Men Children of the Atom, and The Punisher. The best thing about those is the actual physical hardware. For $100, I would get one of those in a heartbeat, and then stick a Raspberry Pi in there, and then have an actual arcade machine to play all of these games. I gotta be honest, that's the best. But then for that money, if you go to Micro Center has a whole setup dedicated to building your own tabletop arcade machine that runs a Raspberry Pi and plays all of these games. Just release them on consoles. Yeah, release them on consoles with an arcade stick. No, because then you get Contra. You get a Capcom that did that. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah. So they're great, but it's just a bit overpriced for what they are, for what you get, for what you were going to have to do to it anyway. You know, if you're going to buy a $300 arcade 1-up machine and then stick a Raspberry Pi in it, why not just buy a Raspberry Pi and plug it to your TV and buy an arcade stick? Arcade sticks are $100. Yeah, $100 is way more reasonable. It's just, and it's a lot more portable. Imagine you go to buy an arcade stick. You open up the bottom of the arcade stick and you plug the Raspberry Pi in there. You install it right into the arcade stick. You run your HDMI out from the arcade stick to your TV. Now this whole thing with all of these arcade games is portable. It's more cost effective. It's more do it yourself, which is the issue there. You know, I always say if you can build this stuff yourself, then this market is not for you. Then arcade 1-up machines are, if you're going to look at 1-up or arcade 1-up machines and say, well, I can just do that for half the price. If you have the ability to do that, then it's not for you. You know, they're not intended to be marketed towards you. So I like the announcements that they made. It's just not necessary. What I like about the Star Wars machine is that, sort of like the Tempest machine, where it's got the knob, or the Centipede machine where you've got the ball, you've got a proprietary kind of control that you can't easily simulate anywhere else. You buy the Tempest machine not because it has Tempest, but because you're going to get to play Tempest with the knob. Arkanoid, Breakout, you're going to get to play it with the knob. The Star Wars machine, you're going to get to play it with the handlebars. That's more interesting. But the Marvel Superheroes machine, I can buy an arcade stick and play the Marvel Superheroes games. It's just easier that way. But the news said millennials can't do it yourself. That's because boomers didn't teach us how. Isn't that right? Ooh. Arcade enthusiasts are more than likely going to search for the actual arcade. Yeah, they're going to... Yeah, straight up arcade enthusiasts are going to... me personally, I would rather find a Capcom CPS machine and buy CPS boards because I'm a collector. Because I like to have them. It's just CPS machines and CPS boards take up phenomenal amounts of space. Space I can't spare. So yeah, all in all, fantastic E3. Fantastic stuff that we got to see. Always nice to get hype for the rest of the upcoming year for video games. So the next big event is going to be whatever Nintendo's next Direct is. Not if you get a Super Gun. Yeah, you're right about that, Lizard. See, the problem with the Super Gun is you still have to store arcade boards. I I mean, you could bypass the Super Gun and the arcade boards completely by buying a Raspberry Pi, but that's neither here nor there. Or just use an old PC and turn that into an arcade machine, which I'll be honest, I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to build an arcade machine. I don't know. We'll see. I got a vacation for the next 2 weeks. Maybe I can squeeze in some arcade building there. All right, so I'm gonna leave the E3 marker up here because I had something that I wanted to talk about that Hero Hyrule brought up a little bit. I believe Hawk Goggles brought this up too. During the Keanu Reeves segment, the most infamous moment probably out of the entire E3 was use that old E-Machines Lizard, that old E-Machines case where I cut out one of the sides and stick a monitor inside the PC so that you could see it from the outside. So the whole box is one machine. The most infamous moment was the breathtaking moment, which was Keanu Reeves, who may or may not have been drunk, but either way was awesome. Do you have space for them? I could find some space if I was really, really desperate for it. I could find some space. I'll put it on the front porch of my house. Keanu Reeves was talking, and he mentioned the idea of being there, being breathtaking, and then someone in the crowd shouted, "You're breathtaking!" And then he pointed back and said, "You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking." And it was a very pure, wholesome moment. It was very delightful. Then replace his washing machine with arcade machine. Ooh, Elements. Arcade machine on top, washing machine on the bottom. Oh my God. So the person that shouted back, "You're breathtaking," supposedly he's getting a copy of Cyberpunk 2077. Oh no, I was joking. Elements, and the machine only works while you're washing clothes, so it makes people want to do laundry. Supposedly, that guy's going to get a copy of 2077. Even without a copy of 2077, he's got a lot of fame. I saw his Twitter handle. He changed it to whatever his name was, the breathtaking guy, to something else. Apparently the guy turned down the copy and asked him to donate it to charity. Okay. My problem is that I noticed after that a couple of the other presentations, you had people, and this might have been the Bethesda problem, you had people screaming things a lot more commonly than has happened in the last few years. And it raises a question about who should be at these events. I know there's a lot of talk. There's been talk for the last few years about the idea that fans should not be at these events, at the actual presentations, that it should be media, that it should be investors, that these events normally were intended as investment events. They were to show investors what was coming up for the next year of that company, and they could make their choices about how much or how little they invest in these companies. That's what a lot of these trade shows are for. The fact that they have now become public spectacles has been a question on the minds of a lot of people in the last few years about whether or not that should be what's going on. You think they were trying to get... Yeah, Aqua, I absolutely think they were trying to get noticed. I think that there were a lot of people that were screaming for things that had no business... They had no business screaming for. Fallout 76. I guess I didn't mask that enough. They had no business screaming for any of that stuff because it was not exciting. Half the time, they weren't even talking about a video game. People were just screaming things. And I wonder how much of that was these people trying to get noticed. That, to me, jumpstarts the argument. Should non-press people be at these events? They can be at the floor. They can be on the trade floor playing the games. That's a good opportunity to get these things out to the public so that the media can, the social media can see that stuff there. But the actual presentations, the events that you have in the closed off rooms demoing things, do fans belong at those events? And I don't know if they should or they shouldn't. It's nice to see hype. It's nice for the companies to be able to measure hype tangibly with the if this was all press, the press wouldn't be cheering. The press isn't supposed to be cheering. The press is supposed to be is it non-objectional or objectional? They're not supposed to have opinions. They are supposed to report the news. So having fans at these events is a great way to gauge directly fan reception. When I was younger, I felt like E3 was the place to be, but now I think I'm just watching it at home. I'm honestly expecting them to not even talk about Fallout. Yeah, Elements. I was not expecting them to mention Fallout 76 at all. I would be. I think that we're more likely to hear the word midichlorians in the new Star Wars movies than we were to hear Fallout 76 at that presentation. So the fact that they talked about it was pretty impressive. It was still BS because it shouldn't have had problems in the first place, but whatever. Yeah, right on the forefront. I'll help hide it. Fallout 76 is the best online game ever. And thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate, Lilac, I appreciate you paying me off to say Fallout 76 is the best online game ever. Now, there you go. You've got that soundbite of me. It's nice to have the hype, but you need to know how to behave. Yeah, how to bloody behave for a live event. Yeah, exactly. Lord Mjolnir, what is happening? You know, Mjolnir, there's 2 people that can lift you now. Yeah, Fallout 76 is getting human NPCs. Whoa! Fallout 76 should have had NPCs already. I mean, it was supposed to be a Fallout game, wasn't it? You know, here's I'm gonna demo you. This was Bethesda's whole thing. Hey everybody. My name is Greg and welcome to the Silver Lining. That's it. Magic Hammer. That was Bethesda. That was Bethesda's entire presentation right there. So I don't know that I have an answer for that, for as far as do people online. I just basically wanted to bring it up. I wanted to see what everybody thought of that, because it is questionable, especially with breathes. Let the man speak. We want to hear what he's announcing. I don't know. I'd rather hear them cheering than listen to them talk about Fallout 76. So yeah, it just that was something that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up the what that sort of triggered, because I remember hearing everybody else screaming and thinking they're all trying to be like the freaking breathtaking guy. I was expecting a Skyrim announcement and more cheering too. Well, they I think they talked a little bit about Elder Scrolls, but not necessarily Skyrim. They talked about Elsewhere. Elsewhere, is that what the next Fallout or next Elder Scrolls game is? Yeah, that was just something that I wanted to discuss. I knew that was a little bit. Meanwhile, Ghostwire Tokyo was the best thing at the conference. It's spooky. Oh wait. Yeah, that was actually really awesome. There was something else that I wanted to talk. Oh, they talked about the Elder Scrolls Online expansion. Okay, is that what Elsewhere is? Okay, I thought Elsewhere. I know I'm saying it wrong. I thought that was supposed to be 6. That much noise in a small place. It must have been a bit claustrophobic. It did not feel comfortable. I don't think I would have been comfortable there at all. I knew there was something else that I wanted to talk about too, and it was E3 related. I'm trying to think of all of the stuff that was announced. It just there was just so much of it, and it was a good year. I think ultimately, even though a lot of the conferences were kind of blah, I think it was a pretty decent year. I think Nintendo and Squaresoft helped pull it out as far as a good year. I think, in all honesty, if either one of those conferences was a bomb, even if the other one was really good, I think most people would have said that E3 was a disaster this year. But we got, Microsoft was a pretty blah presentation, but it had Keanu Reeves. Ubisoft was a pretty blah presentation, but it had Bam Bam the dog. Bethesda was a nightmare on its own right, but it had Ikumi Nakamura. Thoughts on Sony doing their own thing? I'm fine with it. Dragon Net, I'm fine with it. Like I said, I've said it a couple of times. This stream, I've said it a couple of times. It's questionable whether or not we even need an E3 anymore, and everybody doing their own thing is probably the future. So I'm okay with it. Let's think about this. Nintendo did not need E3 for what they did. They showed a video presentation that had 45 minutes of information, and then they did 3 days of an event. The event was probably necessary at E3, but they didn't need it. It was just nice to have. For a lot of that stuff that Nintendo showed, they could have done that once a week over the course of a year, and people would have loved it. People would have gotten a kick out of it. Thoughts on Shenmue 3 being announced for Epic exclusive? Lilac, I did not understand that situation at first. That was kind of BS when I finally did understand it. Apparently, Shenmue 3 was kickstarted, and one of the things that was kickstarted was the fact that there was going to be available on Steam. The Kickstarter's done. I think the game has been announced, and they have pulled it from Steam, and they're saying that it's going to be Epic Store exclusive. I don't like that. I think that is a bait and switch, and they're saying that people are not going to be able to get their money back from what I understand. I think that that's crap, and I think that it is another situation where it makes people question whether or not they want to back these games. With stuff like Mighty Number 9, with the disaster that happened with that game, that makes people look at backing games on Kickstarter and wonder if they should. Because they don't know if they're going to get the product they were supposed to get. People pre-ordered Fallout 76 and were promised canvas bags, and that turned into a whole debacle. These situations like this affect the entire industry. They affect, in this case, it affects indie developers, because indie developers rely on things like Kickstarter. And if people stop trusting Kickstarter, a lot of indie games would not have happened. It's not okay. It's not a good thing to do. I heard the Epic Store was timed exclusive. I think that's what they're saying now. But at first, it was going to be exclusive. It was delayed to November, but it's coming this year, and they're trying to argue that people need to grow up because they were never promised Steam. But they were. They were told that it was going to be on Steam. That was the basis of the Kickstarter. Yeah, Steam is all there was. I think it's pretty scummy, to be honest. It gives good Kickstarter. Yeah, it gives good. Well, Dragon Knight, it's not even that it gives good Kickstarters a bad name. It makes it harder to determine what is a good Kickstarter. Because now you don't even know. Because now you look at them and you think, is this going to be another time where I'm going to have my money messed up? Am I not going to get my game on time with everybody else? I remember, I want to say it was Alpha Omega Sin who had backed it. He was like a big backer for Mighty Number 9. And it was months, if not a year, before he finally got his physical copy of it. He ended up having to go buy it somewhere else. It's just a bummer sort of thing to happen. I didn't understand that at first. And then I read up about it. And I thought, wow, that actually does kind of suck. That really is really bad. Yeah, it's just kind of a bummer. Shenmue was a name people trusted because of the other games. Mighty Number 9 was trusted. It blurs. Exactly. It blurs what's trustworthy. So you don't know what you can trust anymore. You don't know what, it shakes people's faith when it comes to that stuff. Gotta love when the company goes, well, that's not exactly what, how scummy does that sound like? Oh, well, that's not technically what we said. It's so juvenile. It's such a juvenile way to try and get around something. Well, we didn't actually say that. That's right up there. That's right up there with, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Like, what is the matter with you? Grow up. Yeah, really good Kickstarter game like Shovel Knight and Shantae get thrown under the bus. Yeah, imagine Indivisible is still supposed to be coming out. I don't even know when that's coming out. I'm a little disappointed that we haven't seen anything for it. That game had a big Kickstarter backing. That's a game that wouldn't happen if people didn't trust Kickstarter. It's very painful to see all of that happen. Oh, you know what? There was one more thing that happened that I don't think I'm going to talk about. I will let everybody look that up and make some judgments for themselves. Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch for what I understand was his first live stream. He was sort of live vlogging, I guess, from the E3 floor, and he took the cameras into the bathroom where people were using the bathroom, and now he got a Twitch ban for violating terms of service. I think it's still very early. I don't know if it's going to be a permaban, or I feel like if it was a permaban, they would have said that outright. But yeah, I thought I wanted to talk about that. I figured I would just mention it and everybody can look it up for themselves. Truth be told, I hope that if the ban sticks, that at least it sticks for a long time. I posted on Twitter about this, and it's just very disappointing to, we do this here. We do the show here in a stream video game play 3 days a week, and I put some stuff on YouTube every once in a while, and if I could do this for a career, I absolutely would. I would love to make the jump to doing streaming at least 5 days a week, at least 6 hours a day. I love that stuff. I love doing this show in a bigger and better capacity. I would feel charmed, like a charmed life, if I were able to live my life doing something I love in the environment that I love. And it's always a bummer to see these people who get to do these things as a career, and they get to experience all of the perks that come with doing these things as a career, and they throw it away because they're idiots. They throw it away because they don't do something as simple as not record people in the bathroom. Like, how? Imagine losing your career over this. If this was a permaban, and if YouTube said, no, we're not going to allow it because of what happened before, for whatever reason, if they were to say something like that. Imagine losing your ability to keep this as a career and have to explain to people that, oh, well, I used to be a big time Twitch person. I had a million followers, and I was making 5 figures a month for doing this. And then, oh, well, what happened? I took a camera crew into a bathroom and filmed people using the bathroom. Really? Like, I think that if somebody told me that, I usually try and have a lot of tact when I talk to people. When people say crazy things, I try not to wear it on my face that what you're telling me makes you sound stupid. And I work in customer service, so I hear a lot of it. So I try to perfect that. And I feel like if somebody told me that, I would not be able to hide my reaction. I feel like the first thing I would say out loud is, well, that's stupid. Why would you do something so stupid? So blatantly stupid. And by the way, for anybody that does not realize this, blatantly illegal. You cannot take a video recording device into a public restroom and record people using the restroom, especially when apparently there was probably a child in there. You can't do that. It's illegal. And if for some crazy reason it's not illegal, it probably should be. It's just annoying to see somebody, because let's be honest, if his career goes away, it doesn't affect me at all. But it's annoying to see somebody have the kinds of things that you have, that you want, and to literally just throw it away. Like, imagine you take the bus every day because you can't afford a car. And every week you watch somebody take a sledgehammer to their car just because they can go out and buy another one. It's theirs. They get to do with it whatever they want. But it's going to be frustrating to you to see that. Yeah, it would seem more like common sense at least. Like I said, guy's lucky if a ban is. Yeah, he's lucky if a ban is all he gets. The same thing happened with the Pro Jared situation. With I don't care anything about Pro Jared and his wife and whatever love triangle they had going on or sex triangle they had going on. That's their business. But a lot of that talk happens to be about the possibility, the allegations of Pro Jared soliciting naked pictures from people and some of them possibly being underage. That is not about being my business. That's a legal matter. That's a problem there. I don't care about the wife stuff. That's not my business. The other stuff that is legal, that has a legality issue, that is our business. People have similar career to you, making themselves and you along. Yeah, exactly. Because now when people see that, they think, boy, these Twitch streamers are idiots. They don't think Dr. Disrespect is an idiot. They think Twitch streamers are idiots. Yeah, I don't know. So, hopefully we got somebody out there representing us. I don't know. It's weird to say. I'll be honest with you. That's probably one of the first times I felt comfortable saying us, as in talking about Twitch streamers. I know that I've been streaming on Twitch for over a year now, but it's still weird to count myself among people. I think when you're a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, I think the first thing you get used to saying is content creator, and it took me a while to actually call myself a content creator. I think it's safe to actually call myself a Twitch streamer, and I think this is the first time that I feel really comfortable enough to just sort of say it. It's very kind of cool. I managed to move myself. Yeah, it is still weird being a streamer. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's still odd, and I think it's just because I enjoy it so much. Yeah, but I think that's a good note to end it on. So we are going to end it. Thank you, everybody. I know it's just sort of an abrupt ending, but that was our E3 presentation. I do apologize. We normally have a viewer topic segment. Our little Craigie is growing up. We normally have a viewer topic segment. This segment actually ran a little bit long. I don't think we're going to do a viewer topic segment this time. We'll get you to that 1,000. Yeah, we're at 966. 965. We're at 965 followers right now. So we are, assuming nobody leaves, we are 35 followers away from 1,000, which I will try and do. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of giveaway I want to do. It's probably going to be gift cards, just because it's easy for me to give away codes for those. So it is probably going to be something like that. But I do want to do. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to incorporate Twitch chat for it. I may do a stream specifically for the giveaway, and only the people who show up are eligible for it. I know that that's kind of scummy because not everybody can be eligible for it. What I may do is just make a video and then put it on here and on YouTube, and then let people know that you can stop in. Actually, I may just leave it here. We tend to get the odd new people slowly crawling in as the week. Yeah, so it'll be okay. It won't be long until we have you big enough to let it go to your head. Living the dream. I can't wait to be so big that I implode on myself. I'm for gift cards, especially if Aqua, it's gonna be video game stuff. It's gonna be eShop points. I know I did a giveaway on Twitch once for eShop points. So it'll be eShop points. It'll be PlayStation Store points if anybody even cares about PlayStation Store points. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually do a physical item giveaway. Maybe we'll do something like that. That'd be kind of cool because we did hit 3,100 people on Twitter, which is, I don't know, some kind of milestone. Yeah, things with codes, giveaway games, stuff like that. Very simple to do. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in and for hanging out, for enduring our E3 discussion. It was a wild E3. It was a wild week. We got some great information. I'm very hyped for the next year. We did not go into my list of games that I want to pick up, so maybe I'll just share that on Twitter. Which, by the way, if you are watching this and do not follow on Twitter, please check the links down below to follow me on Twitter and over at YouTube. That's where I upload all of the posts for this video, which, by the way, is probably going to go up on YouTube all in one piece. If you are watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below. Follow us over on Twitter and on Twitch. Twitch is... We do the show Monday. We do the show Fridays, 5 to 7. This week we had to do it on Thursday because I'm not going to... Oh, I like penne pasta. Latino, I would say penne pasta is my favorite pasta too, except for linguine that I make myself because I incorporate basil and garlic into the linguine itself. It's very delicious, and I may do a video of that one time. Shill. Yeah, so follow us here, follow us there, follow us everywhere. Thank you, everybody, though. I will see you all next week, earlier next week, maybe Monday, possibly Tuesday. But until then, I'm looking at my buttons here. Have an amazing time. Enjoy your weekend. Play lots of very cool games. Go to Nintendo's YouTube page and watch Link's Awakening footage. It is unbelievable. Watch as much as you can, and I will see you all next time.